I really hate that the song's not playing right now.
It's really not?
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Hardy Construction. You can find us at hardyconstruction.tumblr.com, youtube.com/hardyconstruction, as well as facebook.com/thehardyconstruction with your host, Alex,
Booster.
and today's film is
The Devil's Chair.
The Devil's Chair is a 2007 supposedly horror film made in England, right?
Yeah.
Directed by Adam Mason, written by Adam Mason and Simon Boyes.
The dialogue, Adam Mason, I assume?
I don't know who should we find guilty for that. So, according to IMDb, actually all the things on IMDb are like lengthy. So, what the film is about is a mental patient who's recalling his story about how he one day with his girlfriend takes drugs at an abandoned, I guess, home, asylum.
Asylum, actually.
An abandoned asylum. Abandoned asylum with his girlfriend. They take some drugs, and she ends up being massacred in this chair that she sits in. And he goes back with a intrepid Professor Willard. Willard is a doctor or a professor?
I don't know. He kept calling it Gandalf.
That's true. It's very true. Actually, he reminded me of Saruman. But
Oh, okay.
they go back to this abandoned asylum, and hijinks ensue. And we should thank of demonic origin .tumblr.com who
Okay.
sent us that. So first of
Hold
why
it against us. I'm
why
sorry.
why'd you do this of demonic origin?
Yeah, no hard feelings.
What's
You
your
know.
problem? Oh boy, so where do we start with this movie? How do you?
I have to say, this movie is very confusing to me because, on the very simple level of like how I feel about it after seeing it, because it's like horrible. But there's like a couple of scenes that are like, wow, this is actually exactly what I would want in a horror movie. You know,
I was thinking about it, just like
really cool stuff happens in there, but it's just ruined by terrible dialogue and that stopping every 2 seconds and commenting. It's like trying to be fucking Snatch.
yeah, every guy, what's that guy's name?
Even the guy kind of looks like the guy from Snatch, and who's also like the transporter or whatever the hell.
Yeah. What's the guy,
Yeah.
the director? Guy something. The guy who's doing all those Sherlock Holmes movies. He's married to Madonna. Guy Ritchie. He's like Guy Ritchie kind of film.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, you were right when you were telling me last night, because I was like, oh, I'm going to finish this movie last night, and you were like, it's 50% horrible, 25% good, and then 25% amazing or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was right. It was like finding a pile of like cow shit with speckles of gold in it, because this movie's really...
Hey, right.
This movie's really fucking unbalanced, and
It really is.
It's a relatively fast paced film, but nothing gets covered. You know what I mean? Nothing. This would have been the most
Parts. Oh, like the acting, like that guy, the Professor Gandalf, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, he's over the top.
He doesn't care about this guy Nick at all, and then all of a sudden he's like, Nick, you can't, like totally intense. Like
I'll get
so
into it. I'll get into it with that, why that happened, because I understood what happened in there. But he was really like Sauron through the second half of the film. He was like a kindly old fart in the beginning, then he became like Sauron. It was like, no, I don't think you should do it, like that and stuff.
Yeah, like totally like crazy.
Oh boy!
What
so
is that?
let's get into the opening of the film. So we see Nick, right? Nick's this bloke.
So you say the guy from Transporter or whatever.
Yeah.
The guy's Snatch too. I can't
Why do
think
I
of his.
forget that guy's name? That English bald fellow who's kind of like the new Bruce Willis with an English accent.
Yeah.
Starts out with this gentleman Nick, who's with his girlfriend Sally. Was that her name?
I don't even care.
Whatever.
Jason Statham.
Yeah, he looks like Jason Statham.
Statham. Okay,
And
whatever.
he's with his girlfriend, and they're at this abandoned motel. I wish it was abandoned motel. Abandoned asylum. And they're just futzing around, taking, I guess it was acid, right? It was.
Took acid and they're fucking in it. Like fucking in the asylum, you know?
And the girl takes a seat inside this chair that just happens to be in the center of this one room. And I didn't even notice there's like that little function where you put your finger inside the little hole of the side of the left hand side,
blood, yeah.
and it pricks your finger, and that's what activates this chair, and it like murders you. At the beginning, I thought the chair just kills you, and I was like, is this really what the film is? Like, how are they gonna try to kill 8 people or something by sitting in this chair? Like, I could understand the first person dying in it.
You do it though. They're like, look, I could sit in the chair. See, it's not a big deal.
No, but at the beginning, you don't see the person vanish like they did in the rest of the film.
Yeah, she actually got away, didn't she?
The first girl, I think she, it just cuts
she
off.
died, but she gets out of the chair, is what I'm saying.
I don't think she did. Oh, no, she didn't. She didn't get out of the chair.
Oh, I don't know. I stopped caring.
It's funny because I saw the first 20 minutes of the movie and I had to take a breather. I was like, oh no, and then I watched it the next night.
Yeah, same with me.
Because I just couldn't understand it. And the way that the film is paced is so horrendous. It's like, just like we said before, it is like a Guy Ritchie wannabe gangster,
It's like,
chav
he'll stop
film.
and he'll make narrative. Like, he'll freeze it on the professor's face and be like, oh, look at this fucking Gandalf talking again. Yeah. Like, trying to be, like, witty and stuff, but, like, it doesn't work. And it almost, like, I kept finding myself feeling bad for the actor. Like, as a person, I'm thinking, like, wow, that sucks, because he's kind of a decent actor.
And I kept feeling for the bad actor. That's what I kept thinking.
No, you weren't even that bad. He just got stuck with a horrendous script.
Because the way the film will go out, and we put the link up on YouTube, so if you unfortunately want to watch it, go ahead. But he'll be speaking.
Watching for some of the cool scenes, though. That's what's so confusing about this movie.
The film starts out with the character Nick explaining the whole situation of what happened with his girlfriend and stuff, but then it'll cut to sequences with these people just running around writhing in pain and agony, bleeding to death and stuff like that. And he's like, you want to hear a story? His story's about blah blah blah. He's like that. No offense to all the English people that listen to this show, but it's like
we have tons of them.
The opening of the movie, they're showing the ending, and from there we're supposed to, but you wouldn't show the ending of a horror film. Does that make sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could understand Pulp Fiction. You could see the ending at the beginning, or any other like drama where what's so interesting that's going to lead us up to it. The whole point of horror is that well, I'm not going to say what the whole point. I'm not going to say what the whole point of horror is, but it's going to happen, but you don't really know what's going to happen. Does that make sense?
I know what you're saying. You want to see. You know that someone's
coming.
Going to probably die horribly, but you want it to be a surprise. When
I'm not the aficionado on horror, so I'm not going to say.
I mean, this is trying to be a brainy horror movie. It's trying to have a whole deeper thing. It kind of pulls it off. There is I'm not even sure exactly.
It pulls it off 1/4 of the film. Which, I mean, at
the ending, is he possessed? Is he schizophrenic? That's cool.
This movie would have been an awesome half-an-hour long short film.
Yeah, exactly. Do away with all of that.
Because I can't even understand. I don't understand how there was an hour in this movie. Do you know what I mean? Because the movie went really quick for me. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even understand how the fucking hour passed by because I didn't feel like anything happened at all. Like, they were talking, I know that. But it feels like, I looked at the timer on the screen and said an hour passed by. I was like, how could that be? Because by the time, an hour passed by, they were already, Alright, so let's say the crux. There's this guy, Nick, he supposedly kills his girlfriend. He ends up at this asylum, and there's a, Dr.
Claiborne.
Dr. Claiborne?
No, Dr. Willard. I'm sorry.
Dr. Willard is looking over him, and he tells Nick, he's like, we're gonna release you because I believe we want to take you back to the spot to see what really happened there and to see what triggers within you. I guess that's what the gist of it is. I might have floated in and out of what happened in the movie. Yeah. But he goes with a crew of 3 other people, which was Dr. Was it Claiborne?
Yeah, and then
these
Rachel. 3 interns that he has, basically.
I think it was 2 other interns.
No, it was a guy.
Oh, the guy with the hair with the
that
video
annoying
camera?
guy. I don't know who the fuck he was.
He's actually. What's funny is that actor is this. He's this English guy. What is his name? I remember. Oh, Matt Berry. It's funny because when I saw him in the movie, I was like, "What is he doing?" I guess he's like a comedian or something in England.
Right.
He's actually in this and you have to see this because I don't understand a lot of, and this is gonna make me sound stupid, but I don't really get a lot of UK humor, like English humor.
I understand.
There's only two things that actually made me laugh with UK stuff, like English stuff. Is this thing called Brass Eye, which is very funny, very fucking funny because it's very funny. But and then they had this one called Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, which is kind of like a goof on Stephen King, like if he hosted.
Check out Mr. Bean.
Anyway, the guy Matt Berry, I love that one too. I'm sorry, and the young ones as well. But that's really off kilter humor. But anyway, Matt Berry plays this guy in Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, and you have to watch it, Danny. I'm gonna send you a link because it's so.
That's the guy that's in this movie.
Right, Matt Berry, the fat guy with the pretty hair and the camera. But let me just go in English. What do you understand anything like? like about English humor or English horror or anything. The only other English film
Kill List. Is that English, right? That was
it is. And that's the problem now that this film faces, because I like Kill List was made after this movie. But Kill List to me is the top of mixing genres in horror in a UK setting, at least in an English film. Because that is a crime thriller mixed with a horror film, but it's fooling you by being a crime film.
And then it becomes a horror film.
Then it becomes a horror film. Yeah. This is trying to be a horror film mixed with a crime. It's not a crime film, but it's
like
edited
something.
like a crime.
I don't know what the hell it's trying to do.
It's
trying to be a Guy Ritchie film.
Yeah, right. It's a horror film edited like a Guy Ritchie film. It's like when I watch a lot of English stuff, like I have no interest in seeing Doctor Who, and a lot of our listeners love Doctor Who. You can just
that's something I always want to check out. Actually,
I always want to check it out, but when I see parts of it, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Hercules: The Legendary Journeys, or whatever that's called.
Oh,
you know what I mean? How it's kind of like that,
like
campy,
a cheesy TV movie kind of thing?
Right. And the thing is, I see a lot of the designs from Doctor Who, and it looks fucking awesome, like the Cybermen and the Daleks or the Daleks, excuse me, that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But I there's just nothing about it. And then you look at like English shows like there's a show called the It Crowd or the IT Crowd.
Absolutely Fabulous is pretty funny too, actually.
I'm sure it is, but I mean, I like that dark stuff. I even like what's that old stuff? Are You Being Served was funny. Or
I don't know.
That was like an old stuff. It's like if you watch PBS, or even what's that other? Keeping Up Appearances, which is like this snobby like old British lady who's not worth shit, but she tries to think like she's hot stuff. It's pretty awesome.
Right.
But it's really hard for like an American, and you're Armenian, right, Danny? Like to kind of watch this.
Oh, give me a break.
To watch this. Oh my God forbid. To watch this kind of this British invasion on cinema, and try to see.
I mean,
where
they've come out that country, that whole area has come out with some of the fucking coolest shit. Like the Beatles are from there, Right. Like there's a lot of great shit. But when it comes to humor, I know exactly what you're saying. It's like very dry and like.
I try to watch Red Dwarf.
Putting in a weird way. I can't.
Did you ever see Red Dwarf? Like I never watched Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I might watch it now because I saw.
That's awesome.
Because I saw Lord of the Rings. I mean the Hobbit last night, and it was pretty good.
Oh, good.
Just because of Martin Freeman, I want to check out that movie that they did based on it. So I want to just check it out. But that's like I don't know. I might be fishy on that. But then I try to watch Red Dwarf, and it's like they really just want to. They might as well just like in the opening credits of those UK shows, they should just put the laugh track as one of the characters on the show because it's like the most robotic laugh track. And I'm like, holy shit! I thought American series were really bad with it. I don't understand that with like British humor, but whatever. I like the English one.
Sorry.
So with this film, it is a horror film that is cut like a Guy Ritchie thriller.
Then he goes in the fucking chair, and all of a sudden you find out the professor's bad now, and the chair is a portal to hell. And that scene.
And we didn't skip anything that was important in the story.
We didn't skip anything. It's all just a bunch of stopping the frame every fucking 10 seconds and be like, and now look at this guy right here. And then it goes back and she's going, he's like, I'd really love to fuck her. I will fuck her by the end of this movie. Blah, blah, blah. It's just like.
There's a part in the film where it's really like. Okay. Ugh, so everybody finds a way to get inside that chair and die, and then. What we find out is that you sit in the chair and then you get warped to another dimension.
Because some like Nazi doctor back in the day designed this chair like a portal.
Right, your body physically vanishes and is teleported to this other universe. Or I guess it's like on their budget, it was just another room in the asylum.
But I love the fucking creature. Oh,
the creature is a cool looking creature. That's why I was like, The thing that I like, this is like a mix of like a fucked up version of a Guy Ritchie editing. And Silent Hill. That's what it felt like. Like a weird
that kind of fucking all the flies and like how tall it was. It was
right. So when like the part where the main chick, I guess they were selling her off as the hero girl, the final girl. You know what I mean? Like the main girl in the movie. Although she has no personality, there's nothing you can like about her because there's absolutely no character development in the movie at all. So it's like you don't give a shit about anybody except for Nick is the only guy, and it's really tricky to make a horror film with a guy. Talking through the movie, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
because the whole point is you're not supposed to know what's going on.
I'm not really a big fan of narration in general, unless it's like
American
really
Psycho.
Good, like really well done. Like it has to be well done.
To me, it's either American Psycho or Dexter, but those are done as like a
little
to
highlights,
get into the
not
head.
Like
those are like reasons to get into the head of the killer in those movies. I don't know, like narration in other movies, but anyway, once Sarah wakes up in this other dimension, she's hearing like a demonic version of Nick, and that sounded cool. I was like, okay, wait a minute. Cool. I was like, all of a sudden the movie's kind of interesting. I was waiting for it to get even worse, but then this creature like in a cloak, and it has like was that like a skull of a horse or a deer?
Yeah, it was like a horse skull and like all these flies. It was really cool.
And there's these flies and these giant like Japanese rape tentacles coming out of its back, trying to hunt her down.
It was totally cool.
And I was like, where did this come from? I'm like, this is good. Like, how'd this happen? I was upset because I was like, I really want to hate this movie.
Yeah, I was watching it with my friend, like, the whole time. Like, oh my god. Like, every time he interrupts, like, wow. And, like, we kept rewinding and trying to get that whole thing that he says where he's like, you go, fuck face.
Oh, man.
He does this, like, 5 fucking minute nonstop, and we were, like, actually pausing it word for word and writing down what he said.
Oh god, do you have it on?
We couldn't believe it. But then all of a sudden got to that part and both of us like, ooh, like, whoa.
Yeah, it got interesting. I don't understand how it got that interesting, because the whole feeling of the movie changed, but of course then they would have to go back to this fucking knucklehead Nick in reality dealing with we see that the guy Matt Berry who's playing this guy named Brett Wilson. Why they even gave these characters names, who cares? Whatever, the cameraman. He sits down on the chair and he gets fooled by the other woman. What was her name? The hot chick.
She like fooled him into going on the chair for some reason.
But it was so funny because they didn't even play it like.
Why would she even do that? You know,
because in this dimension, in the reality is that she's in cahoots with the doctor. I thought for a second there that she was evil, like she was possessed by the house or by the asylum.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
And that even the old man didn't know. But then we find out that the old man is in cahoots with her. And they're there to, I guess, sacrifice these people. I don't know who's evil like that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, Nick, he wanted to sacrifice them for, I don't know, to feed the demons so he can access this realm without getting hurt or something.
So the old man overacts his ass off with that whole...
Oh, no, Nick, no! Like, he sounds like Mr. Ed or something.
Danny is not even, like, he's not even lying how overacting that old man is. He really
I'm underacting it. Like, it really couldn't... I can't do it. I can't. Like,
he
my
really
voice
sounds like Saruman or Gandalf yelling at the top of his lungs, like, you shall not pass.
Like crazy bad acting. Like, I've never seen anything like it.
So then Nick is the second guy who goes in, and he goes and he finds Sarah, or Rachel, excuse me. He finds Rachel, and like, you know, all that, the whole part where she was running away. And
the whole part that he cares so much to rescue this random girl.
You know, why I looked at
that.
Why
would he care?
I kind of forgive that for a second, because as the viewer, we're led to him kind of feeling remorse for his first girlfriend dying that way, so he's not going to let somebody else die that way.
Right, but then, I don't know.
Like, stretching it, I know.
He's like, now all of a sudden he's like fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger going to rescue the girl.
That's a racist word. But
what the hell is that?
Yeah, that's the only reason I could think they do that. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, we said that about another movie with some guy, you know, placing the new victim as their old victim kind of thing. But, he goes, I love the voice. You know how he's wheezing her Rachel's name?
Yeah.
That was fucking cool. It's genuinely creepy. But anyway, then of course whenever Nick's not on screen and there's a nightmare world, that's awesome. Whenever Nick's on screen, you're gonna hear him talk and try to be cheeky and funny and using that British kind of slang, the chav kind of slang.
Ugh.
And he I don't know if chav's racist, because chav is like the wigger of like the UK. So
okay.
Wiggers are racist word. And he's like, I guess they can tell that monster can only smell them. They can't see them because obviously it has no eyeballs. That's why they take their shirts off, right? And then he's telling her to take her shirt off. Then it freezes so he can narrate some more. And he's like,
I know I got her shirt off.
He's like, I should have made her take her top off as well. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? Shut up already. The movie was good until that part. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, that section of the movie was good. So anyway, everybody finds a way to go inside. The cameraman finds a way to go inside. The old man stabs his accomplice, and she dies. I like that she stayed stabbed when she came over to the next dimension. I like that.
Right.
That was okay.
It's just, I don't know. And then the ending is really cool, but I'm not quite sure I understand it, to be honest.
Okay, this is what happens. This is how I see what happens.
So I think it's open for interpretation.
So the film is an unreliable narrator, kind of like Patrick Bateman in American Psycho, where he's been telling you this whole story, but it's kind of it's basically being a
It's his crazy view.
It's a meta film. Yeah, it's like what was that French movie? High Tension.
Oh, right.
He's talking to us in the audience, so it's kind of like a high concept, breaking the fourth wall film. Obviously, he's breaking the fourth wall because he's talking to us. And the sequences that everybody else dies except for him and Rachel, and the professor. The professor walks in and he's being evil towards him. You know, he's trying to get the monster to eat Rachel, and he's trying to get the monster to eat Nick. And then midway through it, when the English guy starts fighting him, the old man can beat him up and all this shit. And then all of a sudden, the old man starts, saying, "Oh, what are you doing? You got to stop this!" Like it's a total reversal of what just happened. Like he's acting like a very scared man, right?
Right. Yeah.
This is what I'm thinking. It's because the English guy's narration is bleeding into what really happened.
What do you mean?
Do you get what I'm saying? The storyline is fucking up. The film itself. The story of what the English guy was telling us, he's basically morphing it. I don't know why.
Yeah, he was making fun of. They were making fun of the audience a lot, calling us gore porn,
and some of the worst lines ever.
Yeah, but what's happening they're saying is that, like, oh, the audience wants to see lots of blood and blah blah blah. Okay, here you go, and maybe this is the real story.
The reality of the storyline is that the reality of the storyline of what really happened is bleeding into the story that he was telling. So that's why the old man was trying to be really nice while he's frightened for his life, because in reality, it's going to the big crescendo of Nick saying his fucking horrible monologue to the audience, basically saying, "Do you remember what he says?"
Yeah, don't.
He's like,
it's terrible.
Are we done prick teasing you? Are you full up? Blah blah blah. And he's talking all this shit because he's
goes
basically
on and like the whole time, like, no, stop.
And the thing is, he's telling this like to the audience, like the horror movie has been so amazing, and we're gonna see such an amazing finale that he's talking to us like that. You know what I mean? Like he's a carnival barker. And to me, this felt like there's this comic book called Wanted by Mark Miller that got made into a movie with Angelina Jolie and this guy, and they totally changed it up. But at the end of the comic book, Wanted is about this guy who takes over, becoming the greatest villain in the world because all those superheroes have been killed now, and he talks to in the last panel, he's talking to the reader, like us, reading the comic, saying, what have you done with your life? Kind of like how they sort of did it in the movie. And in this one, he's kind of like, the character Nick is, I guess, chastising us to want to see more gore. And that this monster is going to win, but it's actually him doing all the killing in real life because it's.
He's trying to pull off funny games on us.
But it's terrible. Although it is a cool twist.
Mm-hmm. I'm just talking about the twist. Is he actually schizophrenic, or is he actually possessed by Satan? I think
he's a shithead.
Well, that too. But I think he might be possessed only because of that fucking last scene, the very last scene. He's like talking in like a demon voice and shit to that invisible girl.
Here's what I think. The twist is good. The way they handled it was terrible.
Okay.
I mean, the twist is the same shit you see in High Tension. It's the same exact twist.
But I don't know. He might be possessed. That might add an extra twist to the
I don't think he's possessed. Because in reality, I don't know how the fuck he got...
He's spoken a monster voice,
right, though. But he's also telling the story of what happened. Like at the beginning where he's talking crazy and shit like this. He's basically... Remember at the beginning of the film, he's in shadows with a cigarette telling us the story. So he can basically be telling us the story of him getting into the car with the girl. Why he would tell us, the viewer, that part, or maybe his narration ended at that part, who knows. But basically, he killed the whole staff. They were there to actually see what was going on at that asylum with him, just to kind of see why he did what he did. Whoa, you hear that? That's them coming after him.
The dangerous streets of England.
How he got an axe, a fire axe, to kill those people, I don't understand. Why there would be an axe at the asylum still? Why any of them would have an axe? Doesn't make any sense. Maybe there's a shed, they left axes in there, who knows. Kills them all. It starts out with him raping the girl. It's so stupid shit. And they're trying to be really shocking. Like, this is the whole big shocking ending for somebody. But when you show the fucking the ending at the first, first 5 minutes of the movie, it's not shocking because then you realize, those people didn't die in that dark room. They died in light, in this other room.
Right.
And he ends up killing everybody. He's just like, and it was like frustrating to see that girl. Like, what did she got? She got hit in the head, let's assume, right?
Okay.
And she's like tumbling down the stairs and walking at a snail's pace and like crying and screaming. Like, how hard did you have to get hit in the head that you can't just stand up and start running away? Do you know what I mean? It's like it was just there to frustrate somebody watching it. You know what I mean? It's just like, what the fuck? And I guess it worked. But then the point when she tries to hit him.
Oh yeah, no,
I like that they had that one shot where you thought, oh shit, she was gonna spear this guy with that metal rod, and she just like flimsily hits him.
Right.
That's funny. But yeah, he kills her, and then at the end he gets inside of his car. Oh, he takes somebody's car, and
there's a demon in it.
His dead girlfriend. I think he just saw her in his head because remember he goes to kiss it and she's not there.
Right.
So what I'm thinking is that he's just a nut job, and he says it to the audience. He's like something about something about listening to a crazy person. That's what he says. So obviously doing the demon voice and all that shit. I think he was just a crazy person.
Okay, so you don't think he's possessed by... Because I was thinking, yeah, he's probably crazy, or he actually could have been possessed at that same night when he got initially his girlfriend killed or whatever, and is possessed, and that's it. Like, that's the story.
I don't think the guy who wrote this movie was that thoughtful about it. Like, why he would come up with a horse monster or any of that shit, I don't know. But, I mean...
I'm sure the guy who wrote it didn't think of any of that stuff. I'm sure Simon Boyes thought of that stuff.
I'm sure we're making this sound way more exciting than it is. So
yeah, I would say watch it for a very few brief moments of really, really cool
ideas,
special effects and ideas, and then just like fast forward through all of the rest of it. You're fine. Like, you don't need to. It's really bad. Okay. And the fact that there are good scenes makes me hate it that much more.
Yeah, because the wasted potential, right?
Exactly. If it was all around just a bad movie, I would just dismiss it. I wouldn't have anything to say about it. But the fact that it's kind of close to being a good movie really pisses me off.
Yeah. But there's
anyway,
a lot of people.
Or you more to say? I don't know.
No, I really got nothing more to say. But I'd say if you want to see a genre-bending horror film, then Kill List is the superior one compared to this one because they're trying to make a big deal that this is a big Cabin in the Woods. Obviously, in the American front is a better genre bender for the American version. But
sure, Kill List though.
This film, for some inventive stuff, I'll give it a 3 out of 10. Are you hard up? Are we prick-tasing you, elf?
Alright, cool. I'm gonna give it, but that was what I want to do. You go around fucking pawn sluts. I'm gonna give it a, 4.5 out of 10. Nick, don't go in there!
Danny, what's the final word? Oh, then what's our next movie? Whoops.
Oh, our next movie is an amazing movie, Dead Alive.
I heard about that. I heard the kids talk about that a lot.
Yes.
So, Danny, what's the final word?
Yeah.
The horror deconstruction.